we're good.
Okay, I'd like to call the December 6, 2021 meeting of the City Council for the City of Lake City. Everyone will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings. We thank you for looking over our community. We ask that you continue to guide us in what we do tonight, pleasing in your eyes and for the betterment of our community. Look after our citizens, our troops, and our first responders. In your name we pray. Amen. Next time, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Hill.
Here.
Mr. Jefferson. Mr. Sampson.
Here.
Mayor Witt.
Here.
Mr. Coverline.
Here.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Chief Butler.
Here. Ladies and gentlemen, the Lake City Council has opened its public meeting since 1968. The city code has prohibited any person from making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks or becoming boisterous while addressing the city council. Yelling or making audible comments from the audience constitutes boisterous conduct. Such conduct will not be tolerated. There is only one approved manner of addressing the city council, that is to be recognized and speak from the podium. We have minutes from the November 15th, 2021 regular session.
Will we approve the minutes? Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes is published. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is approval of the agenda.
Make a motion for approval of agenda?
Motion and second to approve the agenda is published. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, persons wishing to address council, I only have one, Mr. Warren.
Can you hear me?
Did
Mic is on.
Did it die on you? 1 second, sorry. You try now?
Hello? Yeah.
Sorry.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. I think we talked, you maybe give me a few minutes. I'm just gonna make a statement and then talk about 1 or 2 issues and I'm leaving.
Okay.
Sylvester Warren, 930 Northeast Joe Coney. Mr. Mayor and Council, I guess for me, the most important thing I want to make this council aware of, I did email you Friday and maybe you were busy and didn't get a chance to look at it. But some very disturbing information came to me.
You said Friday?
Yes, sir. I believe it was Friday.
Okay, I must have overlooked it,
That's fine, Mayor. I mean, people get a lot of emails and things happen. And we got a lot going on in the city.
but I'll go back and check it this evening.
That's fine. So one of the things I wanted to point out was that a husband, wife, and a son called me concerned about my safety based on a dangerous comments that the detective Mangrum made about me. And I've reported that to his superiors. Never before in dealing with law enforcement have I seen the department act so quickly. So I do want to commend Chief Butler and his staff for doing so. But I do want to make it clear to this council that a member of this community from law enforcement should not be labeled as a terrorist, and communication about chopping his head off should never be a part of the conversation, as he refers to me. And so I don't take this lightly. I'm a man. I'm going to defend myself if come in contact with law enforcement officer. And I got grandkids. And if he thinks that my body is going to drop, he's got another thing coming. And anybody else who think along those lines. So I hope that the council make sure that this officer, once the IA investigation is done, that real action is taken. Real action needs to be taken. This type of behavior is unbecoming of a police officer. We live in 2021. I'm a black man in America. I have the right to participate in my First Amendments. I have a right to speak up about inequality that take place in my community that's factual and true. Whether an officer like what I say or not, that has no business of his to bring harm. I want to bring harm to me. And then bring me up in an unrelated incident as he's investigating something totally unrelated to me. I take my life very seriously and I would defend it very seriously. So back in the blue, or the thin line or whatever y'all, that's got to stop when the officer is wrong. I'm not down for that. And so I'm not here to say or to be threatening like he was, but I am going to tell you, if push come to a shove, if it's me or him, the yellow tape is coming out. That's a fact. And my body's not going to drop. So that out of the way, Mayor. Thank you all. Y'all aware of it. His name is Detective Mangle. My second issue is that, Mayor, you told me that when we had this meeting in December, that we were going to discuss the ARPA issue. I didn't see it on the agenda. I don't know whether or not it's something you're going to deal with later in the segment of the issues on the agenda.
Well, you said you was gonna leave. I was gonna bring it up, later on. I've spoken with, Mr. Williams. We've discussed it several times. He's said that he's working on all the obligations we have, and I've asked on schedule a workshop for probably the second, the second Monday in, January, which would be between the two meetings, so we could just deal with those issues of the finances, what we've got and what we're obligated to. So it will be done the 1st of January.
So we do have a handle on the ARPA money, meaning that
Mr. Williams, you wanna?
Yeah, when you're talking about the ARPA money, you're talking about
the
the.
5.1 and then the half a payment would be like 2.6 and some change,
Yeah, actually, they got.
2.5 and something.
We got about $3 million. That money's in the account. It's sitting up there. There's a stack of papers as well as weekly calls with finance to talk about enabling legislate what it can be used for and clarification stuff. So what I suggested to the mayor is that the council have a workshop to go over what these funds can be used for and over the enabling documentation that's about this thick, so that they have a good understanding of that before they start utilizing the money.
And, okay, I know that the county did the same thing. I think it's 4 or 5 categories that we can use the money in, but a workshop would be good to educate the council and the community. My last thing, Mayor, and I'm gonna take off, is that where we at, and I'm not gonna stop on this, Mayor. You said that you believe in unifying the whole downtown. I mean, talk is cheap, leadership is everything. Benches, pavers, and trash cans.
And that's where we're gonna come in with this, is I want to continue our downtown beautification project this month and be working on all that and getting some figures. I've spoken with Mr. Williams on this issue too. But till we know exactly what money we have and that, but as soon as we do, we're gonna move forward with that project of beautification. We are gonna do that.
But when you say beautification, can you be more, are you talking about trash cans, benches and pavers as it relates to North Marion Street?
Yep.
Or you about to say, Ms. Williams, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that we were putting all that together, so that they can do that. What they'll need to do is then, they'll have a list of, we'll know in December how much money will be coming in for 2022, in the CRA funds. And then we'll also have a list of everything that's, obligated for 2022. And then if they want to add any new projects to that, we'll have the calls for those and they can add those.
Thank you, Council. I know y'all got a long agenda. Appreciate your extra time here.
Okay.
Walking on agenda item to talk about Sean Holmgren, 240 Northeast Laguna Drive. I want to make sure that I understand if you're going to be doing the beautification projects, that you're going to go through proper committees.
Absolutely.
Okay, and you're going to go ahead and honor the commitments that you've made thus far to do the central business district.
Right, we're doing the whole project.
Okay, but you've already engineered money that was
Right.
supposed to be spent. And there's a lot of work that went in with that CRAC and CRA committee to present to you already a blueprint. So the things that were already approved are going to be taken care of, yes?
Yes.
And then you'll go through committees to make sure that you have something that's unifying and aesthetically pleasing when you start doing the north section as well as the section between Baya and the central business district. Those are both going to be taken care of in the next round, yes?
Right.
Okay, so I just want to make sure it's equal and fair.
All right, that's all I have. We'll move on to our business. Under presentation, internet cafe study, PowerPoint, Lake City Police Department. Chief Butler.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, what do we do?
Yep. I'm on it now. There you go.
Again, I was asked to do a presentation on the internet cafe moratorium. As the temporary moratorium is set to expire. Current status of internet cafes are currently no cafes legally operating within the city limits of Lake City, which will come into play when I explain something later on. Really, the council has three options: ban the cafes due to safety concerns, 2, let the moratorium expire with no restrictions, or 3, regulate internet cafes inside city limits. I would caution you for the last two options, the moratorium and the regulation, let the moratorium expire in the regulation. One of the reasons is Senate Bill SB 620, which is currently going through the legislature, which will allow businesses to sue municipal and county governments. If you put restrictions on them, that would affect their bottom line. The internet cafes over the years have tried to find loopholes like the Preveal that allowed them to reopen back in 2018. So if we try to regulate them, then probably all they're going to be looking to do is find holes in the regulations. And if you try and change your regulations to fit what's going on, it could open the city up to financial suit to recoup their losses. I recommend the city council mirror the county commission's ordinance banning internet cafe. This recommendation is based on the following items to consider. The Electronic Gambling Prohibition and Community Protection Act, which was in 2013, reaffirms that internet cafes, sweepstakes, adult arcades are not exempted by exemptions in the gambling laws for charitable or nonprofit organizations. And the three statutes that are controlling: 849.01, it's a third-degree felony to own, operate, or oversee an internet cafe. 849.02, employees would also be guilty of a third-degree felony. And 849.08, anyone patronizing the establishment be committing a misdemeanor. I spoke with State's Attorney John Durrett last week to make sure that he hadn't changed his opinion, and he stated that internet cafe operations are illegal. Leon County, then farther down, Leon County Circuit Judge John Cooper, hearing a case from ABT, specifically ruled that even pre-reveal games are illegal gambling. Pre-reveal games, when the internet cafes first opened up, they were just regular video slot machines. When the legislature said they were illegal, they turned around and we got this pre-reveal, so you bought a card. The card already had predetermined win and losing on it. So they tried to get a loophole saying that isn't gambling because that card already has winner and loser. However, the circuit judge disagreed and said it was still illegal. Crime stats. A review of the stats provided by Columbia County Sheriff's Office regarding criminal activity at these locations in Columbia County makes it clearly evident that allowing these businesses within the city limits would result in a marked increase in criminal calls for service. If you look at the crime stats that was provided by the Sheriff's Office, over a 3-year period, they had 1,260 additional calls for service at internet cafes. That's a significant amount of calls for those establishments. Also, County Attorney Foreman said because surrounding counties started banning internet cafes, these businesses started to relocate to other areas such as Columbia County. Now, since the county's already outlawed it, that would make us an island in the middle of everywhere where it's illegal, and that would draw them to us, perhaps even increasing more the criminal element and safety. Marion County, Duval County, Nassau County have all said they're just going to prohibit the machines because they think the probability that they're being used illegally is so high. Because of public safety issues in these counties, they have withstood the challenges in federal court. And just to be aware, the Lake City Police Department
does not have the resources to investigate the software on these machines. So in order for us to handle that and look into it, we would have to bring in outside agencies, whether it be the Sheriff's Department, FDLE, or the FBI. But we are not equipped to investigate whether the machines are illegal. Once a determination is made, then obviously we could take action. And just to show when they were open, the first press release, that was ours. 2 shot and second robbery in Lake City, internet cafes. We had 3 robberies since April, as he said, this is back when they were legal. And also the CCSO has a press release for a casino shooting. Again, in 2013, Governor Scott reaffirmed that the internet cafe and sweepstakes are not exempted for gambling laws. Lake City Police Department, along with other agencies across the state, distributed posters of the casinos within the city limits. And shortly thereafter, all the internet cafes in the city limits had ceased operations. Over the course of the next few years, however, cafes began to reopen on the premise that they changed their operational software and is no longer gambling. Again, the judge has ruled that that's not accurate, and our state's attorney does not agree. Unfortunately, investigations are resource intensive. As a result, the best solution, and my recommendation to the council, is to follow the county and establish an ordinance banning internet. And I did do a review of the county ordinance, pretty encompassing, but there have to be some modifications. One thing that I think is important is they specifically state that it does not prohibit religious or charitable organizations from conducting fundraising activities involving gaming, providing the organization does not conduct the activity more than twice a year, or with 6 hours per fundraiser. So people are worried about different organizations having fundraisers. If we follow the county's lead, that will not ban those organizations from doing their fundraisers. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is bingo included?
Bingo is exempt. These are electronic.
Okay.
gaming.
I didn't see that.
Bingo's got its own statutes.
I think so.
Bingo, certain ones that don't require electronic gaming are a separate statute.
Fred, if we had this at the next meeting, since we can't take action tonight, it's not, I guess we can't take action.
No, there's no action to be taken except to, well, actually, I suppose there's not final action. You should give a consensus of which way you want the administration to move. But as far as an ordinance, there's nothing to be voted on tonight.
But if we did, it'd be through an ordinance, so we'd have to have 2 meetings for that.
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions?
I think my concern, Mr. Mayor, is going back to what Mr. Durrett said. If they are illegal, they can't be open anyways. So I don't think we want to encourage illegal business.
Yeah, I think this most county cities are not allowed.
If the council bans them, if they find a loophole that for some reason, like the reveal loophole that they tried, if you already have a ban in place, it would prohibit them from opening anyway, because they need to come get the business license.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I think we would just be inviting a lot of work. We don't need. Yeah, what's y'all, I'd rather follow the county and fine tune that.
That would be my recommendation and motion. Well, is to follow suit to the county. And in addition, if the state attorney said that,
That's my thing. If it's illegal, you know, we shouldn't vote that. So I think we need to mirror the county. And a few months ago, I had a lady stop me wanting to find out where the nearest casino was at, and she was from Georgia. She came all the way from Georgia to Lake City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mayor, you have a motion for Mr. Jefferson.
Uh,
You have a motion for Mr. Jefferson.
I second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to recommend that we bring back an ordinance, here in the county. Any discussion? So you call the roll.
Mr. Jefferson,
yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Sampson,
Yes.
Mayor Win.
Yes.
Can I have one question?
Is paying spray charge illegal?
That has nothing to do with that. Okay,
It's called money.
okay, we're gonna open a public hearing on city council ordinance number 2021-2206. Mr. Coburn, you read that by title.
An ordinance of the city of Lake City, Florida, amending ordinance number 91-688 as amended, relating to an amendment to the text of the City of Lake City Comprehensive Plan pursuant to an application CPA 21-03 by the City Council under the amendment procedures established in sections 163.3161 through 163.3248 Florida statutes as amended, providing for adding a property rights element to the comprehensive plan per section 163.3161 subpart 10 Florida statutes as amended, and section 187.101 subpart 3 of Florida statutes as amended, repealing all ordinances in conflict and providing an effective date, period.
Okay, if I didn't say it before, we're opening a public hearing on this, so if anybody in the audience wishes to speak for or against this ordinance. Nobody wishes to speak, and we will close the public hearing, move into adoption of city council ordinance number 2021-2206. Final reading.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for adoption of City Council Ordinance number 2021-2206 on final reading.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill? Mayor Witt?
Yes. Okay, discussion possible action, Fire Pension Board appointee. Still looking for somebody. In fact, I was thinking about talking to Mr. Danford, but apparently he's moving on. The other is, Planning and Zoning Board.
Yes, sir. You still have 2 vacancies on the Planning and Zoning Board. That's a board of 7 appointees,
Right.
and you only have currently 5.
Okay,
It requires 4 to have a quorum, so if we have something to where that more than one person misses, then we would not have a quorum and would not be able to conduct business.
okay, so we need to work on that. You gonna go ahead and do the City Hall update?
Yes, sir. I wish I had a better update to give you than this. The city staff has done a tremendous job. IT has pulled all their lines. We have all our IT equipment ready to go. We need 1 day, once Comcast connects the internet, to bring that live. And then we have a plan in place to where that we would relocate customer service first. We would relocate 2 tellers from customer service and they would occupy the drive-through. That way, St. Margaret Street Annex would still be operating and could take payments. Once the drive-through is operational, then St. Margaret Street would close down and they would move over. However, we heard from Comcast today, and the earliest that they can have the internet connected with the fiber, because they have to do some things on their end, because it's going to disrupt some other customers, they said, is January 5th. So basically, January 5th is the next possible date. If they do that, we could start on January 6th. Once they install theirs, my IT people need 1 day to install and test our switch, and then we could move the people over.
And the other item is, Memorial Stadium update.
Memorial Stadium update, North Florida Professional Services has not completed the final report. They should have that this week. I do have, I will give to the clerk electronically, a structural investigation which shows the draft report of finding, has pictures of all the things in there, but it just shows those, and we'll get that out to y'all tomorrow. As soon as the rest of it comes in, we will forward that to you so that you will have it and can review it before your next meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is new business. We have ordinance, City Council ordinance number 2021-2210. Mr. Carolina, would you read that by title?
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lake City, Florida, amending Article 18 of the Code of Ordinances, providing for amendments to Section 18-82 and 18-83 of the Code of Ordinances, providing for the enforcement of aviation regulations, providing for codification, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date, period.
Okay, is there a motion as to adoption of City Council ordinance number 2021-2210?
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of ordinance number 2021-2210 on its first reading.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion by council? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Okay, we're moving to resolutions. The first is City Council Resolution 2021-174. Mr. Kirkland, would you read that by title?
A resolution of City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, providing for access to the driver and vehicle information database system by the Lake City Police Department and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion that City Council Resolution 2021-174?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for approval of City Council Resolution number 2021-174.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2021-176. Mr. Kirkland, would you read that by title?
A resolution of City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing task assignment number 5 to the continuing contract with Midtower and Associates Incorporated, a Florida corporation, providing for engineering services associated with the permit application renewal for the Kicklighter wastewater treatment facility, providing for a cost not to exceed $18,592.00, and providing for an effective date period.
Was there a motion that City Council Resolution 2021-176?
Mr. Mayor, I move for the approval of resolution number 2021-176.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2021-177. Mr. Kirkland, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of task assignment 3 with Passero Associates LLC for professional services related to the new City Hall complex and associated buildings, providing for a cost for the professional services not to exceed $39,000.00, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion that City Council Resolution 2021-177?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for approval of City Council Resolution 2021-177.
Been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2021-178. Mr. Kirkland, would you read that by title?
A resolution of City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a continuing contract with Passero Associates LLC, a Florida limited liability company, providing for engineering and consulting services, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion as to City Council Resolution 2021-178?
Mr. Mayor, I move for the approval of resolution number 2021-178.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next, City Council Resolution 2021-179. Mr. Kirkland, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a continuing contract with Gamur Engineering LLC, a Florida limited liability company, providing for engineering and consulting services, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion as to City Council Resolution 2021-179?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion for approval on City Council Resolution 2021-179.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, any discussion by council? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Whit?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2021-180. Mr. Kirkland, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a continuing contract with Wetland Solutions Incorporated, a Florida corporation, providing for engineering and consulting services, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion that City Council Resolution 2021-180?
Mr. Mayor, I offer a resolution for the approval of, resolution number 2021-180.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next, we have City Council Resolution 2021-181. Mr. Carolina, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a continuing contract with Chenmore and Associates Incorporated, a Florida corporation, providing for engineering and consulting services, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion that City Council Resolution 2021-181?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve, resolution 2021-181.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2021-182. Mr. Carolina, would you read that one?
A resolution of the City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a continuing contract with Environmental Consulting and Technology Incorporated, a Florida corporation, providing for engineering and consulting services, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion that City Council Resolution 2021-182?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion for approval of City Council Resolution 2021-182.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion on this? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2021-183. Mr. Carolina, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of a continuing contract with North Florida Professional Services Incorporated, a Florida corporation, providing for engineering and consulting services, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion that City Council Resolution 2021-183?
Mr. Mayor, I offer a motion for the approval of resolution number 2021-183.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Next is City Council Resolution 2021-185. Mr. Carolina, would you read that by title?
A resolution of the City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the execution of the First Amendment to the Memorandum of Agreement with the Swanee River Water Management District, authorized by City Council Resolution number 2020-114, providing for an extension of the deadlines for completion, providing for conflict, and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion as to City Council Resolution 2021-185?
Mr. Mayor, I move for the approval of resolution number 2021-185.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill? Mayor Witt?
Yes. Last is City Council Resolution 2021-186. Mr. Carolina, would you read that by title?
A resolution of City Council of City Lake City, Florida, authorizing the cities joining the state of Florida and other local government units in participating in the quote distributor settlement end quote and the quote Janssen settlement end quote, as described by the Florida Attorney General, providing for the mayor's execution of the two participation agreements and providing for an effective date period.
Is there a motion as City Council Resolution 2021-186?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion for approval of City Council Resolution 2021-186.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion? Ms. Sykes, will you call the roll?
Mr. Sampson?
Yes.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mayor Witt?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Williams, any departmental administration?
There's nothing on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, but I do have one question seeking guidance from the council. Laurel Street or Laurel Road, basically where Montgomery goes by the First Presbyterian Church between US 90 West and Bascom, Baya. In Baya there. It comes over, tees into Montgomery, and then it shows that it continues over into what is now the Presbyterian Church parking lot. Okay, there was evidently an ordinance. They had done a request back in 2014, but there was never an ordinance completed. Mr. Dial and myself rode out and looked at that. I thought at one time that may be in Mr. Sampson's district, but it's not. It's in 14. The church is requesting that we consider vacating that, so because it just goes into their parking lot. And I'm just seeking guidance from the council as to how you want to approach that. If you want Mr. Coberline to do an ordinance to that effect, we can do that. If not, if you want us to bring it back and put it on the agenda to discuss, we can do that as well.
Mr. Mayor, I know in 2014, they just didn't do the second part of the ordinance, or they only did?
No, they actually started the ordinance, but it was never finished. It was actually voided out. So for whatever reason, and who knows, going back to 2014, what that would have been, I certainly don't. So if we were going to do this now, then we would have to start over and do a new ordinance to do that, if you so desire to do so.
I would think we'd want to vacate that. Now, also, that road right there where it goes, that James Montgomery Road is horrible.
Yes, it is. It is. That road is in bad shape. It's really rough and doing something there. I did reach out. Public Works and Utilities had gone out and got an estimate for resurfacing that road. Very short piece of road. It'd be about $38,500 to do so. They may have some money left over from some of the other paving projects that they're scheduled to do in December. If the council so desired to do that, they could do that in there before Christmas. But again, that's entirely up to the council.
They have the funds from other projects, I think, and it needs it.
It really needs to be addressed. One thing is that road is pretty busy. I don't know if you realize that people cut from Bay to 90 right there. It's a pretty busy thoroughfare. I think we should vacate that piece going into the parking lot. I thought that was done when they repaved their parking lot, but I guess it just didn't get finished. But do we need a new ordinance for that?
Yes, sir.
I'd recommend a new ordinance to vacate that.
I agree with that.
And then if we have the funds available, I'd like to see that paved. I think it'd be good because it's, I don't know, would you call that an arterial?
It's a connector. It connects Baya with US 90. So it's very short, but it would be considered a small connector between those two highways.
Anybody got a problem with that? Okay,
I don't, it needs to be done.
all right. Thank you. Anything else? Financial Council, we got the parade Saturday night. I think it's 6 o'clock, so we usually get over there between 5 and 5:30.
And one reminder on the parade, no throwing of candy from the float. That's considered to be a safety hazard, and the Rotary Club has asked that no one throw candy from the vehicles.
We never have because of the reason.
What about throwing out the vehicles?
Be there on the side.
Anybody else got any comments?
The opposite direction.
Yeah, we go, well, we meet at the fire station and then they'll go up to Memorial Stadium here.
Yeah. I thank Mr. Williams for, I had a couple of phone calls this week. And I'd like to thank Mr. Williams for being on top of them. Thank the police chief, his staff. Had an incident today over on the north side of town. Got it taken care of. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we'll see y'all in a couple of weeks.
I'd just like to say one thing. I want to thank Mr. Hill for being on top of his district. He took me out and showed me some things, and we needed to get them taken care of. And thanks to the staff, we were able to do that. But I appreciate his diligence.
We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.